Hey everybody, welcome back. In today's video we're going to work our way down to another panel in the Develop module. Today we're going to look at lens corrections. If you recall this image, we used this earlier to play with sharpening and noise reduction. So today I think it's a good candidate for some of these lens corrections in here. What you'll see is we have profile corrections. These are sort of standardized corrections that Lightroom is able to make to the image based on a profile made for specific lenses. And then manual gives us the ability to manually adjust for some of the distortion that can be inherent in some lenses, as well as taking care of some color issues that arise often with certain lenses. In this image we can see there's definitely some distortion here. You can see these vertical lines that should be straight are curved, and you can see it on this side also. This lens, as you can see here underneath our histogram, was a 15mm lens, so this is fairly wide. First, let's look at our profile corrections. Let's zoom in here, and if you see on the edge of the frames here and some of these slightly out of focus highlights, there's a bit of a purple color there. Let's actually look a little bit closer. Right here you can see this strong purple. You may have noticed this in some of your photos in the past and not known what it was or what you could do about it. Sometimes you'll see this color fringing. It might be green. Then that's referred to as chromatic aberration. So the very first option we see under profile corrections for our lenses is chromatic aberration. So let's check this box. And as you can see, it's almost completely gone. I can still see a little bit of purple in here, but when we zoom back out, we really don't see it anymore. It's not nearly as noticeable as here. When we step back on our history, I can kind of start to see it here. Let's look over on this side. Here I can see a little bit of the green fringing. But you can see when we step back on our history to our most recent adjustment, which was to automatically remove chromatic aberration, the green fringing is almost gone. We still see a little bit of purple right here. So if we wanted to really try to remove all of it, we could go over to manual. And we can adjust the amount that it's going to remove. So let's move that slider and watch what happens. You can see it starts to disappear here. And if we take it all the way, we may start to remove other colors that are not color fringing that are actually in the image. But at this point, you can see they start to come back. That's pretty good. Let's check all of our sharp edges that are near a highlight and see. Looks like it's basically gone. Usually that's about all you have to do. Just checking this box takes care of the majority of it, and you may have to make it a little bit more aggressive by adjusting the amount here. And that generally does it. Sometimes you might get a color. You'll notice here we have a slider for the purple hue and the green hue. Purple and green seem to be the most common chromatic aberrations that you'll find, but you can see here we have the ability to adjust this in case they're not purple or green. We can skew that hue that it's going to correct for over in the direction of something that's more blue-green, or we can drag it this way into the reds and oranges. And the same down here with the green, we can adjust it more in the direction of orange-yellow, or this direction more towards something that's sort of blue or cyan. And as we saw over here where we had some green fringing, let's go back. The automatic correction basically got rid of all of that. If we had some still persisting, we could do the same as we did here with the purple, and we could adjust the amount. But I don't see that we really need to right here. We also have a vignetting control. Many lenses just naturally will have some vignetting, which is darkening of the corners, and it's just caused by the way the light falls off as it passes through the glass lens elements. This lens naturally, I think, has a little bit. A lot of them do, especially certain wide-angle lenses. This is really more of a taste thing. Some people correct this out. Other people like to have, they even add more vignetting. They want to increase that and exaggerate it a bit more. It's, as I said, it's really more a matter of taste. I like to keep, if there's some that naturally occurs in the lens and it's not too strong or distracting, I like to keep it because it's a real optical effect, as opposed to correcting it out and then later on down here under effects going and adding some more vignetting. I don't see the point in that. If it's there in the lens already, I'd rather keep it. But again, it depends on the character of the lens and, you know, what does the vignetting look like? Is it so subtle you can't see it? Maybe you would like to add some more. Is it distracting? Is it pleasing? Those are sort of subjective judgments. Let's go back here to profile. So just with the check of this box, we got rid of a flaw in the image that I find to be really annoying. Once you know about chromatic aberration and you know what it looks like, anytime you see it in an image, it can be really distracting. A lot of people don't know what it is, or just don't look that closely at it, so they don't notice. But once you've been trained to see it, I can't stand it. If it's in my images and I see it, I have to get rid of it. So checking this box and using the manual tool here are really powerful ways to get rid of it really quickly. The next thing we can correct automatically would be the natural distortion of the lens. So with this fisheye, kind of semi-fisheye lens, we get this barrel distortion where it's curved on the outsides. It's closest to being straight in the middle, but the curvature gets worse towards the outside. So if we check this box, you can see that really kind of flattened it out. That's with the distortion and no correction, and that's corrected. Everything is significantly straighter. And you can see in this instance here with this image, included in our metadata are all the technical details of the camera body. If we wanted to look for that, we've got 5D Mark II, shot with 15mm lens. So 15mm on a full frame camera, that's pretty wide. But because it could recognize which lens we had, it knows how much distortion to correct out of it. But if we wanted to fine tune that a little bit, we have these sliders here where we could adjust the vignetting or the amount of distortion. So let's just see what happens if we mess with this. If we push the slider this way, we get kind of the opposite problem that's known as pincushion distortion. It's where the curvature bends inward right here. And that's pretty significant distortion. If we go back the other way, now we have basically what we started with, which was that barrel distortion. So somewhere here in the middle was basically correct. And there are still things we could do to even further straighten this. That'll be in the next video when we head down here to the transform panel. But this right here got rid of a lot of distortion. We got rid of chromatic aberration and that barrel distortion. While we're in here adjusting things manually, we can see what would happen if we adjust the vignetting. So in this case, we basically taken away any correction for vignetting, and here would be exaggerating it. This lens doesn't really have a whole lot in the way of vignetting, so this isn't really doing very much. But if we go into manual here, we can see if we move the slider this way, the corners get quite a bit brighter. If we go the other direction, we can see it falls off quite a bit around the sides. It's a bit more difficult to see in an image like this, where the corners are dark anyway, so you wouldn't notice heavy vignetting unless it was really quite extreme, or if it was corrected too much and the corners felt brighter than they should, then you might start to notice it. But if we had an image with lots of bright tone out here around the sides, then these vignetting adjustments would be much more evident. And that's about it for the lens corrections. They're relatively straightforward, but you can very quickly make some major corrections to an image. If you've got any questions, as usual, send me an email or post it in the tech support forum. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.